this to me.
It's
Yeah.
the wine. It's the wine.
Right.
And
No sipping at the next one. Any questions? Buntle, who's muted? Yeah. Buntle.
yeah. Hi guys. I think this is just a question
was that?
to all the guys, ne? And I hear you talking about, and I think it's Kgabo that said this about being a Instagram dad because you are present, ne? And I guess it's good for the kids and all of that. My question is, there's a thin line between being present on social media for the world and actually being present for your kids, you know what I mean? And yes, our kids are now techno savvy. They'll see all these pictures on Instagram and think, oh good, my dad is posting and whatnot. But do you not think it affects them in the long run when you are not physically present or emotionally present for them, because they still want to have the conversations with dad. They still want to brag to their friends to say, oh yes, I have a picture with my dad on social media, but I went for ice cream and these are the conversations that we had and so forth. You know what I mean? So I get, my question is, where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? And at what point do we call our friends out that are just Instagram dads because by poster and not being there emotionally or physically? I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Who's
sense.
Directed to? Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
it's
Yeah.
to anyone. Yeah,
Okay.
all three can respond.
I don't mind taking it first. I mean, you said it yourself, Nomzamo. I hate double standards. I think that Ponte, you're right in saying that you can only do bad by posting on social media, but you're not there physically, emotionally for your kid. I think that it is worth calling out that the fact that you're just posting your child, but after you've posted, now you're out of here. You're going out to hang out with your boys, and you're just showing the world that you are a bit better than whoever else. So I think that I don't think it's so much a where do we draw the line. I think it's you need to be consistent. I think that like a post needs to be only just a highlight of what you've been doing throughout the day, not necessarily the thing that you did in the day. I hope that makes sense, but
Like
yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Like just showing off or showing like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a tick box kind of.
Yeah.
Like Deb.
I think it's all ego. I think that social media is an opportunity for a lot of people to get validation, myself included. I think the line that you draw is intention, because you know why you're posting, and that's all we have, guys. I think we can dilly-dally and try to police the conscience of other people. There was a thread I think that I read around gender-based violence where the last line was, because you know if you are posting on the gram simply because you want to brush your ego, you want to get 100 likes, and you want to be seen to be fathering. You know that it's part of who you are. And my understanding of at least consciousness and how the universe operates is that that's going to come back to you. There's going to come a moment where you will know, and your daughter/kid will know that was not about me. So the ego thing is a huge part of this whole toxic masculinity thing. It's something that we've inherited in how we get defined as men, because you know what it means to be a father without having to post, but you also know how posting is part of a moment of appreciation whilst you're being a good father.
Yeah. Nkulu, just anything around social media.
Yeah, just to add, I mean, it's very important. There's a big difference between being a father on social media or Instagram and being a real dad. It takes a lot more than posting doing something fun, and being a great dad, looking for likes on social media. So it's a lot more than that. Kgabo mentioned consistency.
I think you
can't just show by pictures and social media that you're a good dad. You know, it takes a lot more than that.
For sure.
You know, be consistent and to be a good dad.
Yeah. I guess,
To
yeah,
add-
that social media thing is tricky. I mean, that's another topic. But yeah, so, I mean, Father's Day comes along and everybody's posting their fathers and Father's Day lunches, and fathers are the best people. But you haven't spoken to your father maybe the whole week, the whole month, the whole year. But come Father's Day, it's like, woo, best dad, you know, kind of thing. So social media is such a different dynamic. Yeah, that's a different topic. Any more questions? Thank you so much.
Can I ask something a little bit more lighthearted?
This is Pumi.
Pumi, yes. Hi,
Pumi,
guys.
Pumi.
Can the gentlemen share, like, what kind of domesticated things do they do around their house that their daughters witness them seeing, like doing? Because I think it's all part of the whole conversation. I know it's
I love that question.
on the side there,
Thank
but
you,
yeah.
That's very good.
Sorry, Pumzile, can you ask the question again, please?
which I was just
I want to
asking.
make sure I heard correctly.
I was just asking what kind of household or typically women or domesticated work do you do around the home that your daughters will grow up witnessing you do with pride, you know what I mean? Whether it's doing the dishes, you know what I mean? I just think it's part of the whole raising a daughter thing where they get to witness you doing things around the home and not feel like it's mom's job. Yeah, so I just want to see like what is guys currently doing. I don't want to talk about what you plan on doing, but what are you currently doing already? Because they're going to grow up into that already. It's not something you're going to say, when my daughter's 5, then I'm going to start doing the dishes and then she'll witness me doing the dishes. It's something that you already are doing.
Yeah.
So just as a standstill, like a current state, where are you guys at with that? And how do you hope to
we'll start with Nkulu because he wanted to. Nkulu.
Yeah, okay, I heard the question very clearly there. I think for me, even now, Nkanyezi knows that dad cooks. That's one of the things that I do. And it's a very normal thing, you know. So it's very difficult to love wine and not be able to cook in the kitchen, for example. So I do spend a lot.
Okay, give us your wife's number so we can confirm the cooking.
I'm sure she's listening. She can definitely confirm.
Lying, she must speak up.
Yeah,
she must confirm.
I think, you know, on a serious note, I'd like my daughter, you know, one day when my daughter is with the guy who says, no, man, I don't cook. That's a woman's job. You know, I wanted to be freaked out at something like that, for example. You know, because she would have witnessed me for years and years. She's only young now, and she sees me in the kitchen. I hold her sometime when I'm cooking and so on. Yeah, so for me, that's one of the first examples that comes to mind.
Yeah, Dave.
I try to cook. I make a mean sticky chicken wings with steamed broccoli and some, you know, some. Yeah, so I do cook a little bit, but my wife plays that role, and it's a passion-driven, I guess, gender role. Washing dishes, I do that. Cleaning the house, I do that. Even down to what I do with her, because she's a girl child, and this is something that one day I want us to talk about, is how do men interact with their girl children or their daughters because they're girl children. So changing nappies, nudity, sexuality, how does that show up? At what point do you stop being naked in front of your daughter after a shower when Lesego says, Daddy, I want to help. I want to like put lotion on your back. And you're like, sure, this is a bit uncomfortable, you know, but I deviate. But yeah, definitely those chores.
Relevant,
for me,
that's relevant.
Unati, can you confirm all of this fast?
I feel like these wives should not be here, guys. Let us have our shine.
Danny, I can
Unati, can you
confirm.
confirm?
No, really, I can confirm. True story.
Oh,
Kgabo.
Yeah, look, my wife is also here, and she texted me saying, tell them that you burp the kids. So I was like, yeah, like I was changing nappies and burping babies and cooking. And I think like for my kids, it's weird because they are very vocal about like when I did school runs before lockdown, it was a thing of there's no stereotypes, I guess, because my wife would go to work way earlier than I would because I have a flexible schedule. And it'll be like, where's mama? Oh, mama, we live Morocco. And so that was like, for them, it's not a thing of dad is the one that goes to work and mom is the one that is staying at home. So there's no like, you know, so it's like, okay, she's gone to work and he's gonna go home and then he'll go to work whenever he goes to work. I also cook. I don't want to say I'm great. I don't want to say I'm bad, but that's up
we need
to them.
confirmation.
But,
confirmation.
Yeah. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay. But yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. Oh my gosh, Kumi, that was
Thank
such
you
a
for
good
that.
question.
I asked because I think in our conversation I had with some friends over the weekend was that we always want to be conscious when you ask a guy what do they look for in a wife. We want them to be careful to not be describing a domestic worker and not describing, you know,
a servant.
they must be describing partnership and, you know, companionship and all those things. Not, you know, someone who can cook, someone who can iron, you know. So yeah, so the lighthearted thing had a bit of seriousness to it, but thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thank you,
Can I touch on something that Tebogo said?
Very important question there, yeah.
Yeah. Can I touch on something Tebogo said? I mean, it's just me sharing my own experience. Is I had an experience where my wife was doing their nails, and my son wanted to be in on it. And I mean, being vulnerable here, but and I reacted and I said, and I remember saying, yeah, boy, you shouldn't do that, right? Then he's like, why? And I'm like, and I kept quiet because I was like, I was aware of what I just said, that I just perpetuated something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I remember maybe an hour afterwards, I pulled him aside and I'm like, bro, if you want to do your nails, you can. It's fine. Like, and I think like for me, it was a very like somber realization of what I just said.
Yeah.
Because
there's no like girls do this and boys do that.
Yeah. And I said to him, I'm sorry, but like if you want to paint your nails, you can. And I said it to my daughters as well. I'm like, if he wants to paint his nails with you guys, you can.
Yeah.
But I think these are some of the things that I guess we learn as we go, that we only get exposed to the stereotypes that we have on ourselves subconsciously. And like when we have these kind of experiences, I was like, oh damn, bro, like listen, I just realized that you know, I'm changing, and there's certain things that I'll only like witness when I engage them.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Nolita, I can see you, girl. You confirmed that Nkulu can cook. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate all the wives out here confirming this information. So thank you, guys. Sorry, guys, I just said could we end at 9:30, but could we have some questions or comments? I'm just trying to go through the chat. I know people ask questions, but if someone tops, yes.
May I say something?
Definitely. Tapi,
thank you, Nomzamo. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you, Nomzamo. Good evening, everybody. Great discussion, and what a great pick of gentlemen this evening. I think I have a question for everybody. I would like to start with Uputwamde Tebogo. He spoke about 2 levels of consciousness, which I absolutely love, in terms of you and your daughter, seeing her as somebody else that has a soul, and it's got nothing to do about hierarchy. Because many of us, I think, Sakula, we grew up with that notion of Gumtom Dala, I'm the adult.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know better.
This is wrong.
And I think this is wrong, this is right. You have to listen to me. And so I appreciate that share, but I would like to ask, when did you realize that, in terms of that you are 2 souls, and with coming from a place of 2 levels of consciousness? When did you realize that? And then to Kgabo, in terms of you're all about having the conversations, but it's very important to be one with your words. I'm a big believer of that you have to be one with your words. It's more about the action than what you say. And moving forward, how do we make sure, how do you hold accountability in terms of that, but also in terms of making sure that men become one with what they say. And then to Nkulu, my brother, who I think is doing a sterling job as a new daddy.
Yes.
Will Smith recently said in his conversation with Nkosikazi wakhe, Jada Pinkett, you know, the daughter Willow introduced him to his own feelings. How do you interpret that, and can you attest the same? Thank you.
So Debs, and then Kgabo, and then Nkulu.
Right into it. Okay, I'll get right into it. When did I realize this? I realized this through my wife. As I mentioned, we went through a hell of a whirlwind earlier on in our marriage, and she introduced me to a book called Misbehave. And Misbehave basically reshaped my understanding of what it means for a woman to take up space, and how, as a man, I need to just get out of the way. And coming out of that, I then went into a book called The Conscious Parent, which speaks around the fact that even though our physical being seems to be a domineering one with children, their spiritual heightenedness and emotional intelligence is likely to be equal, if not higher than us. And when you open up yourself to be able to learn what the true test or the true idea of adventure is, the true idea of unconditional love, the true idea of being inquisitive and being unjudgmental and non-judgmental, that is when I connected to my daughter in a different way. There was a moment where I had a nervous breakdown in the kitchen because I could feel my world falling apart. I could literally hear and feel the fact that my wife's heart was deciding to break away from this marriage. And I broke down into pieces in the kitchen. I sat on the floor. She came to the kitchen trying to find out what the hell's going on. In that moment, my daughter, I was on the floor sobbing like a child. My daughter of all 2 years came and put her hand on my back and rubbed my back. A profound wisdom, a profound sense of heightened emotion and consciousness that I could not have asked from anywhere, from anyone. And from that moment, these experiences where she channels a consciousness which is far superior than what I've interacted with, adults with, shows up. And that's when I started to have a huge respect for who she is, and to also learn to operate from a space of guardianship and not a space of ownership. These are not our children. We are the guardians of a life that needs to find expression in the world. And sometimes we need to get out of the way.
Yeah. And you're learning from each other, Debs. Like you're learning from Desocha, she's learning from you. So it's, I think that's such it's amazing. And then the third question, I even forgot, tops your question. The third question to Kgabo.
Yes, I actually have to write that question down before I forget it. Debs, I'm just still sitting on his answer. It's a great answer. And just adding on, if I may, is that I once heard this thing where someone said, I guess as parents, you are raising a woman, you are raising a man. And I think what you're saying about guardianship versus ownership, it's exactly that. It's like remembering that you're bringing an entire human that's going to exist in society at some point. So great answer, bro. Top said something. Question was about being one with my words, and how am I making sure that I'm, I guess, actioning that out. So for me, I start with myself. That's the best person I can start with, is what am I going to do? For me personally, I know one of the things that I have top of my mind, I haven't sat with my action plan so far, is that I really want to get into psychology, because I really do believe that psychologically the men in our society are not okay. And that plays a big role in, I guess, your behavior and your actions and all of that stuff. And for me, as far as I can go with studies into that, I don't know where that will take me, but I know that I just want to understand behavior from a mental perspective, and then that will help me engage men a bit better, those that are around me and those that I can engage with in communities. for the people that are around me, I think that I can only keep probing, keep challenging, keep learning from other people as well. I think that those that are in my immediate circles, we have conversations about what are we going to do. And I know that one of my best friends, the one that I spoke to about calling each other out, he's a writer and he writes for a lot of songwriters. So for him, it's like, this is my tool to say something.
Yeah.
If I can write lyrics to someone that has that much more influence, that will reach that much more thousand people,
get the message across.
with my words, then I have to be that much more respectful of the words and the things that I'm writing that can speak to something. So my other friend is an accountant, and for him, it's like, how do I challenge my white counterparts that are in higher positions in the corporate space about how you interact with people. So I think I'm always about, what are we going to do? I'm always about, what are you going to say, and what are you doing in your immediate.
How are you showing up?
Exactly.
For sure.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Tops. And then you had your brotherly question, Nkulu.
Oh yes. The question, sorry, if I remember correctly, was about.
Hey, Tops' question was deep.
Yeah. So, must I ask you the question again, Shamase? Yeah. So
yes,
my question was, I was just reflecting on Will Smith's conversation with the wife earlier this week, and he said that Willow, being the youngest child, the only daughter, he said that she introduced him to his own feelings. And I was
like
asking
he made him
you,
softer.
can you attest, can you say the same? And what's your interpretation of that? If you could share your own story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that question, Tops. You know, I must just say from the onset, one of the things I realized was I'm not where I want to be with my feelings as much as, as you think I'm there, but I'm not. And my wife
boys can cry. Boys can cry. Okay, it's fine.
Boys can cry. And my wife always calls me out. And I've said that before to her nephews, where they fall down and say, no, boys don't cry. She's like, don't say that. And I realize I still have a long way to, realize that boys can cry. But coming to myself as a father, I must say that it's been amazing to watch my daughter over the last year. She grows up and develops her own personality, and it's really been amazing to watch. But, from an emotional or feelings point of view, it's just really, really deep.
Yeah.
And I really just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But as I said, it starts with being present and being close to her more than anything. And what Will Smith said was really profound, because he didn't know how to answer his daughter's question. He had his boys before, and then when the daughter asked a very simple question about the feelings, he was blown away, and it was tough for him. It was like, how the hell do I answer that? And then he realized he had issues himself that he had to deal with, or had certain things that he had to unlearn. So
and that's very interesting, Nkulu, because not just men but women, you need to just say, I don't know how to do something. I don't know how to be an intimate person. I don't know how to be and even just through my own journey, love languages aren't just between a man and a woman that are married. Love languages are something you need to understand about your kids, right? And about your parents, and about people you interact with. That if you don't know how to become affectionate, or you don't understand how to show love, it's okay to say, I don't know how to show love. I need you to teach me or to show me how to show love, and if that means verbal, it's a journey you need to go through. But I'm sorry, I don't want to dwell. So Tapi, I know you had a question, so I know I'm like, we've got 2 minutes, so Tapi, go.
Already?
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
My
Tappy.
question. Hi
Longer
guys.
Nomzamo. Yeah, Tappy from Henley, yes.
Hi everyone. My question is just out. I'm just off ramping. Like we're talking here about fathering in a how do I call it? In a normal scenario. My question is not to both guys because they are married. They are fathering their kids within the marriage. How do you DJ when you have a child outside the marriage that was conceived and then you get now into a marriage where when Father's Day comes, you are with your kids in the marriage and the other one is outside? How do we balance that and how do we make sure that they get the equal love that they are supposed to get and they get all equal opportunities that they have? So I think a perfect person to answer this is the one that has that something similar to what I'm asking. Yeah, because I realize that nowadays the ones that are outside the marriage is actually suffer a bit.
There's blended family dynamics.
The attention comes to the ones that are inside the marriage. Yeah.
I think there's no one in the panel who's in that situation, but I can give anybody who feels they want to just add their comment, please.
Yeah, I think, yeah, if I can just give credit to fathers that step up, you know, and they father and they love children that aren't necessarily theirs. But I mean, yeah, it's just one of those situations where.
So I think Tapi's saying the father is the father to two different kids, and he was married to a mother or a family that he's no longer married to, and now he's neglecting his daughter from the old family, and now might be focusing on the daughter of the current family.
Oh, I'm focusing. Okay.
Yeah, and that means on Father's Day or something, that the other ex family, that daughter now is being sidelined or not given the attention ultimately, because now the new family that he's married into is getting the attention.
Maybe if I can offer you know something, I don't know because but I think complex families are becoming a norm in just modern society. I think we have to stop giving men the opportunity to create excuses for not showing up. I think, you know, you always have a choice. The institution of marriage, by its definition, has got nothing to do with that kind of environment, whether you show up for kids that were born in or out of the marriage. If you truly are a great father and you want to be a great father, the parameters of marriage should not determine whether or not that can happen. And part of choosing your partner in this new marriage and having kids within that marriage should come with that conversation to say, by the way, honey, this is who I'm coming with. I hope that you can respect the fact that this is how I want to show up. On Father's Day, this is what we're going to do. This is how I've set up a space for all of us to be able to have the opportunity to express love. If you have a partner that is not able to allow for that to happen, then you have to, I think, question whether or not that partner is good for you as a man, good for you as a father, because at what point are you forced to choose between those who you love the most? Love is an absolute emotion. It is the language of the universe. And when you make people have to choose between who they love, then you're breaking, I think, what is a sanctity of humanity. So any man who says, I cannot, interact with my other child because my wife or the marriage that I'm in does not allow for that, I think is creating excuses. And literally they're banking on the idea that patriarchy will save them from themselves. Let's hold our men to a higher standard, because it seems as though mediocrity and just showing up in jail, is being allowed to be, the way that we expect men to behave and fathers to behave. We have to do more, we have to expect more, and we have to operate out of the parameters of what we've termed as normality. Our children are going to have different, sexual preferences. They're going to have multiple partners. The marriages that we exist in are changing. The family unit, as we used to understand it, is changing. So let's not create that as a reason not to be good fathers.
Yeah. Short tips. Yeah, I hear you. Tapi, are you cool with that?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Any pressing questions, guys? My gosh, time is like water.
Just a comment from me.
Yay, my sister.
Yay. I think I must commend the gentleman coming from being raised in the.
Why can't we see your video?
We can't see you.
We want to see you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yay. So this is Tebogo's older sister. They call me Bratom. Ask them why. But anyway, you know, what I wanted to comment is it's interesting that, you know, the comments and the questions, but, you know, looking at the young gentlemen and how we were raised in the 80s, it's a nice combination of feminine and masculine energy. So given what Tebogo said about how I was raised and having to take up a very parental role at a very early age, almost forces you to take over or take up a masculine energy in everything you do. And as a result, I saw Bonta asking how that has affected me, is that I assume a masculine energy everywhere I go. So I go into a meeting and I want to be there. I want to take up the father and mother role. And what I would like to encourage the gentlemen and young fathers, especially if you have a firstborn daughter, is to show your vulnerability as well, because that encourages women to understand and see your feminine side and your feminine energy. As well as, you know, pushing them to do well and to push in life and be, you know, the best that they can be. So, and it's a nice balance, because when you grow older, then you struggle with, you know, retrieving back as a woman. Not that you have to be a female and be feminine, but sometimes when you push forward too much, it can become, you know, too much for other men. And sometimes it's very difficult to then retrieve back to your feminine energy. And feminine energy is very beautiful.
It's amazing. We run the world.
And exactly.
Yeah.
Can be very difficult when you get to an adult stage. So that's just my comment.
Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy.
That's so good.
Are they closing? Is this? I know it was such a powerful statement, so I don't know if they need answers, because Jimmy, you like, it was insightful. So Kgabo, Debs, Nkulu, anything to add on what Jimmy said before we close? You guys?
No, for me, it is just to close, because
Yeah.
I think we've covered quite a lot. For me, love is truth, and so if you are truth, you are love. So be truth. I'm learning that in truth you can find a lot of freedom, and for me that has been the saving grace and the opportunity to really connect with my life purpose. So I wish that for everybody on the call.
Yeah.
I hope that you find truth for yourself, because that's really how you connect to the universe. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Nkulu, any closing remarks?
Thank you, Debza. That was very special. I think just generally to pick on a few key words, I think there's a lot of unlearning, and you must face up to our past demons as we move on to being good fathers. Debza touched on that in the beginning about, being enablers of toxic masculinity. Yeah. And so just very important from that point of view, and also to be very present and to be very consistent, forgetting other distractions such as social media. There's certainly positive, but there's a lot of negative associated with, projecting yourself as a good father, present father, when you're actually not. And I think, definitely going in the right direction, we have to be present and be very consistent. So
I hear you.
It's it for me, and most importantly, we have to be vulnerable and be open-minded.
For sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Kgabo, just some closing thoughts before we say goodbye.
First of all, thank you, Nomzamo. for inviting all of us. This was
Thank
cool.
you.
For sure, not enough time.
And to the other gents, I am definitely having you guys on my podcast.
Yeah.
Then my last thoughts is my thing is, I think it was something that I learned when I had my firstborn, and I was like, and I would see myself dropping the ball in certain things, and something just came to my mind was that I've never been a father, right? So just from that basis, I had a bit of grace for myself to say, I'm learning. And so as we go, we are learning. And as you grow in your parenthood and however many kids you have and however old they get, you're still learning. I think that for me, it's like when they get to being teenagers, I don't know how to parent teenagers. I can only draw from the references that I might have.
For sure.
And I think that goes out to any father, any mothers, that you are learning. You haven't done this before, and you can only draw from the people that have done it. And so just extend that little bit more grace to yourself, but make sure that you kill it. Like I mean, they're worth the effort.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So guys, oh my gosh, thank you so much for staying on a little bit longer. But just for the dads on the panel, thank you so much for setting out your time and your evening for me and hiding the kids in the closet, I think, for this hour and a half, which has been great. I know Lucifer needs to be like, let's get to Auntie Zami, so thank you so much for this time that you've put aside. I thank you guys for also showing up as fathers in your respective ways. And I think you guys are doing a really good job, so keep at it. And we'll learn from you, Jose and I, when we get to that stage in our lives. But say I love you, show love, be open, be vulnerable, have those conversations. And I think I'm so glad you guys are also acknowledging that the mothers or your wives have sort of empowered you on this journey. So I really appreciate that. And thank you guys so much. So can I please have some cameras on, and we're going to do a big cheers and a good night. And thank you to everybody.
My wine is
cheers.
finished, guys.
Bring your stuff. And thank you guys so much. So, cheers to the daddies and the daughters. Hey, yes.
Cheers.
Cheers and good night. Thank you guys.
Cheers, Nomzamo.
Thank you
so much for this.
Cheers, gents.
Thank you.
Yes,
Cheers.
this wine's getting me lit. So like, yeah, cheers.
Good night, folks. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
All love.
Thank you,
Good
Nomzamo.
night.
All love.
Thank you, everyone.
Langa, no wine for you. Just you at work. Good night.
Thank you, Nomzamo.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Great job, Nomzamo.
Coletta and where's Coletta? She's not in the picture though.
She's right here. She's right here.
Yes. Yes. How are you making hubby just be in this thing without you? Cheers, guys.
Guys, we were already at, there's like a time difference that we forget about.
What time is it? What time?
And right now it's like 10 o'clock, or it's like, what time is it?
It's just an hour difference.
It's 20 to 11.
Okay, an hour.
I mean, it's 8 o'clock our time.
Really, that's fine.
Listen,
when lockdown's over, we're gonna visit you guys in Uganda. Jose and I are gonna come.
By all means.
Yeah.
And then we started having to drink like for a whole hour before you guys were ready.
That's fine.
And then,
That's fine.
Your Zoom told us that by Nomzamo, the meeting starting at 9 o'clock. And by us, it was 8.
Oh my gosh, but doesn't Zoom do the time zone thing? Oh my gosh.
We were ready in pajamas at 10 to 8.
Oh no. Okay, but then you guys have been drinking longer.
Let's start now.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you.
Bye, we're gonna visit you.
Cheers, Langa.
Bye.
Hi, Auntie Zami.
Oh my goodness.
How cute.
One lawyer.
Enjoy. Hi.
Hi, Auntie Zami.
Hello, how are you? Auntie's gonna call you guys just now, okay? We're gonna call you guys now, hey?
All right.
Hey?
Thanks for a lovely session, guys.
Up for later. I love you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much, Nkulu. Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. Ciao.
We're gonna speak.